He came back different. They all do, but this time it was worse. Thomas Ellroy had disappeared for 3 days in early September, his car abandoned near a strip of state forest with no trails, no campsites, and no notable features. When he emerged, scratched and dehydrated, he spoke little and blinked like he hadn't seen the sun in years. No one knew where he'd been. No one really asked. He returned to his apartment in silence. The neighbors barely noticed. He lived on the top floor of an aging brick building that smelled of wet carpet and old paint. It had 5 floors, but only 4 were visible from the outside. The 5th was a kind of architectural mistake, a tight maze of narrow halls and irregular walls, like blueprints had been shuffled and reassembled by someone drunk or blind. His apartment faced the alley. It had a single bedroom, a kitchenette, and, most importantly, a window that didn't exist from the outside. The window was in the backroom, a small, square space just off the kitchen, too small to be useful and too big to be ignored. It had always been dark in there. The light bulb would flicker and die within days, no matter how many times it was replaced. The previous tenant had painted over the socket. Thomas hadn't paid much attention to the room before he vanished. When he came back, it was all he saw. At first, he only stood there, hours at a time, motionless, staring into the black glass. Then the drawings began, circles mostly, interlocking shapes, eyes, endless eyes. He stopped going to work, stopped answering his phone. Mail piled up in the hallway until it stopped arriving altogether. The neighbors heard things. A low hum that came through the vents at night. A smell like burnt sugar and pennies. And always the sound of footsteps, but only ever one foot repeating at irregular intervals, like a limp echo. Inside the back room, the window changed. It began to show places that weren't real. Endless hallways lined with doors too tall and narrow to walk through. Trees that grew in spirals, cities floating in the sky, blinking in and out of existence like dying stars. None of it moved, none of it lived, and yet Thomas watched. He stopped eating. His cheeks sunk in. His fingers twitched even at rest. He lined the walls with foil, then with black paper. He took apart his clocks, burned the photos in his phone, and taped over the mirrors. When he slept, it was curled in the doorway of the back room, as if he were trying to block something, or keep something in. Eventually, the landlord came to evict him. The building manager and 2 maintenance guys accompanied her. They never made it past the kitchen. They described the smell first, metallic, thick and sweet. Then the walls, which were covered in writing, not painted, etched. Thousands of lines in patterns they couldn't decipher. Some of it pulsed when the light hit it. The manager said she looked into the back room and saw herself, but not quite. Her reflection blinked out of sync, smiled too early. It took weeks before she stopped seeing the same smile in dreams. Thomas was gone. No trace, no bags, no blood. Only his shirt, folded neatly on the floor in front of the window. The apartment was sealed, the door welded shut. They called it a hazard, though no one could define the risk. A few months later, the unit was listed again. No mention of the back room. The new tenant lasted 9 days. He left all his belongings behind, except a single note written directly on the refrigerator door. It watches through you, not at you. No one lives there now. The building still stands, 5th floor still uncounted, the back room still lightless. Maintenance refuses to enter. Tenants on the 4th floor complain of a soft knocking through the ceiling, always around 3:15 a.m. Just once, then twice, then silence. Whatever Thomas saw through that window wasn't meant to be seen, but some things once opened don't close, and some windows look both ways. In the weeks after the last tenant fled, the building took on a strange character. Tenants reported flickering power surges that matched no pattern, electronics resetting themselves to strange timestamps, and in one case, a ceiling fan that spun counterclockwise even when disconnected. The superintendent chalked it up to old wiring. He was found unconscious in the stairwell 2 days later, blood on his palms and a shattered wristwatch still ticking out the wrong time. 2:36 a.m. No one could explain it. Eventually, the apartment was forgotten again, covered in the same bureaucratic dust as the rest of the 5th floor. It existed, but only technically. Mail for that unit was returned without comment. Maintenance claimed the key didn't fit. The fire escape didn't reach that level. No one tried the door. No one but her. Her name wasn't recorded. She didn't sign a lease. She arrived on foot with a red backpack and a folding chair, middle-aged, small and pale, with eyes like something waiting to be named. She sat across the alley from the building for 3 nights, just watching the 5th floor window that wasn't there. On the 4th night, the window blinked. It was quick, just a pulse of greyish light that washed out the alley for a second and left the air smelling like melted plastic. She stood, shouldered the bag, and entered the building. No one saw her again, not directly. But things changed. Tenants on lower floors reported hearing furniture being dragged far overhead. Some described it as metal scraping stone. Others said it sounded like someone tuning a piano underwater. The sounds came at the same time every night, 3:15. Then, a month later, a delivery man refused to go past the 4th floor, said the stairwell got colder the higher he went, said he saw someone watching him from a doorframe that shouldn't exist. His account was dismissed until 2 weeks later when one of the tenants tried to climb to the roof and disappeared. He was found 3 days later in the basement laundry room, barefoot and muttering, his fingertips stained with ink. He would only say one word: backward. In time, rumors turned to silence. People stopped asking, moved out, moved on. But the building remained. And so did the back room. It was the apartment's heart now. The window grew, subtly, its frame widened by inches, its glass deepened. The light that leaked from it wasn't light at all. It was memory, or something that fed on it. Anything placed in front of the window began to vanish, slowly. First the color, then the sound, then the meaning. It became ritual. Someone would find themselves drawn to the sealed apartment. No reason, just a feeling. They would stop outside, press their palm to the welded door, and listen. If the knocking came, they would return the next night. 3 knocks, then 4. Then the door would open. No one ever remembered what happened next. Not clearly, but the building kept changing, subtly. New angles formed where none should exist. Windows reflected different skies. Doors led to stairwells that circled back. Some said they heard someone whispering just below perception. A name they used to have. The city forgot the building. Maps stopped including it. GPS showed a vacant lot, but the building stood, and the back room watched. Sometimes, just before dawn, a light flickers where the window used to be, not on, not off, just aware. And behind it, if you're looking closely, something moves. Not toward you, just inside you, through you. What it saw in Thomas and in all the others was not curiosity. It was an opening, a gap between thought and knowing, a window not in the wall, but in the mind. And it used them. It uses anyone it touches, because when you look long enough into the window, it does more than look back. It learns, it memorizes, it rewrites. There's a new tenant now. Not really a tenant, not really new. They leave the lights off. They never go near mirrors. They spend hours still as stone in the back room, one foot tapping irregularly, as if echoing something that only exists on the other side. 3 knocks, then 4, then nothing.